You're listening to the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
Now, getting to the present day NWA, you've already addressed all the naysayers and all the critics and stuff about, the NWA nowadays is not like, the NWA we grew up on with Ric Flair and everything. And you've told about, your plans for the future of the NWA. How do you feel about the NWA now as far as its progress, as far as your quality of talent? Because me, myself, I am a big proponent of the NWA, and I constantly post on Facebook that the NWA has some of the best wrestlers, if not the best wrestlers, in professional wrestling. That we're not sports entertainers, that what we do is a legitimate sport. How do you feel about that?
Well, first of all, I really don't listen to the naysayers and the critics that much. I focus, I don't listen to the noise, and I just focus on my plan pretty much. I wasn't around in 1984, and in fact, there was about 15 years in between that, 20 years that I wasn't around either. So, don't blame it on me if the NWA went down, at some point. It fell in my lap. And I have so much respect for the profession that I wasn't just gonna, toss it out. I felt like that I was entrusted with, being a custodian of this brand, and so I'm doing the best that I can to rebuild scorched earth, so to speak. I think we made tremendous progress in the last 2 years. I mean, we've only had control of the NWA for about 2 years. And in those 2 years, I think we've made a lot of progress. We've got a great website up. We've got a great message board up. We've been in New Japan. We don't have national TV yet, but we're working on it. That's on a blackboard. I mean, it doesn't come easy. And we don't want to put out a substandard product either. We're moving slow. I think, but we're making steady upward progress, and that's where we're at pretty much.
Yeah, I was going to say, because a lot of people don't realize, Mr. Tharpe, that you have these wrestling promoters, and it's already stressful enough to actually run a wrestling promotion, but you're in the unique position that you actually run a conglomerate of wrestling promotions. Please explain to the people out there how stressful and how much work you actually have to go through on a daily basis between emails and Facebook, phone calls, not only with the NWA affiliates, but trying to get these overseas contacts and spread the message that is the NWA. Please let these people know how hard you work on a daily basis.
It's a lot of work. I'm not going to, sugarcoat it, but it's a labor of love because I love the NWA. I love what I'm doing. I love the wrestling profession. Definitely since we've taken over the NWA, my life has gotten a lot busier. I'm a single father. I got 2 kids. I've got my own law practice, and I'm doing the best I can to develop the NWA. I've been to Japan 12 times the last year and a half. I've been to Taiwan twice. I do the best I can to get around to the individual NWA promotions in the United States. And in fact, in 2015, that's one of the things that I want to do more of, is get around to some more of the NWA promotions, because I think it's good that obviously the promoters and most of the promoters and I know each other on a face-to-face basis, but I also need to meet the talent. I need to see the Will Huckabees out there. I need to evaluate the talent, because in the last year I've been very fortunate in getting some guys booked in New Japan. That's been one of the perks of working with New Japan, is I've been able to get some guys booked, and that's more exposure for them. I mean, that's a nice payday for them. I mean, it's great on their resume to say that they not only worked in Japan, they worked for New Japan Pro Wrestling, the #1 professional wrestling company in Japan. And every television that we do over there is a sellout. Every one of them is 10,000 plus people. I mean, if you've never worked in front of a crowd like that, it's awesome. I mean, it's funny. I've heard the same thing from several different, I've felt this experience myself, and I've heard it from several different people. from Chase Owens to Bobby Fish, and Kyle O'Reilly, of Ring of Honor, who, by the way, are a couple of really great guys who I've got to meet in Japan and been out to dinner with on a couple of occasions. Not only phenomenal wrestlers, but great people. But it's funny, you get booked in New Japan, and the first night, you're there to work, you're professional, you're there to do what they pay you to be there for. And you find yourself standing there in that ring, and you're in Tokyo, Japan, and there's this New Japan emblem on the mat cover, and you're thinking to yourself, oh man, I'm on TV. I'm in Japan. I'm in a New Japan ring. Wow. And you almost want to, you just almost want to mark out yourself because, it's like it's realizing a dream come true. And I've heard the same thing from several other guys. They say, man, we're walking down the aisle towards the ring and we're heels. And we're trying not to smile. We're trying not to smile because, man, it's just like, wow, here we are in Japan. This is a dream come true. And that's Jushin Liger in the ring, that I'm going to wrestle. And, I mean, it's a dream come true for me and for a lot of other guys that get an opportunity to wrestle in Japan. So, we've only had one clinic. We had one clinic in Houston in April, I think it was, last year. And from that clinic, we've got about 5 different guys booked in Japan. And so, I mean, we want to have another clinic sometime in 2015. We're not sure where. We're not sure when. The availability of the Japanese is, critical on that. But, it's just it's just a great opportunity, for guys sometimes to, to work in Japan. And I need to get around to some more of the promotions so I can see some of this talent, so I can suggest, more talent to New Japan that they use.
Well, Mr. Tharpe, on behalf of NWA Rage in North Carolina, I humbly invite you to have the next NWA New Japan tryout / seminar in the great state of North Carolina. NWA Rage actually runs maybe 2 hours from the Atlantic Ocean. Beautiful resort town.
Great.
But yeah, getting to Japan. I was going to ask you. So, the smoking jackets. Where do you get them from?
Those jackets are custom made in Taipei, Taiwan. It was kind of interesting how they came about. And actually, kind of the character sort of developed on its own. It's kind of interesting. I happened to be over in Taipei, and the people just started to boo me more and more and more. They just started, and they just started to react to me more and more. And so I was thinking to myself, how can I turn this up a notch a little bit? I said, okay, well, maybe I'll get flashy jackets. So I'm over in Taipei, and I'm shopping around for jackets. Well, I'm not going to find a jacket that's going to fit me in Taipei. They're all too small. I mean, across the shoulders and whatnot. I mean, my arms are too long. So I'm with a buddy of mine, and I'm like, well, what do you think? Should we, look for a tailor that might be able to make one? So we found one of you hear about these Chinese tailors that will measure you and make you a jacket, in a day. Well, we found one of those, and this guy's amazing, and came up with some really wild material, and didn't tell anybody about it until right before the match, and I put the jacket on, and, the other wrestlers are like, wow. A couple of them were like, what the heck? But they got a pretty good reaction from the crowd. And in fact, the next time I went back to Japan, even some of the Japanese wrestlers were coming up to me, in the dressing room and kind of laughing, asking, what color jacket tonight? So it kind of, it sort of caught on. So I've got like about 8 different jackets. 8 different colors now that I kind of just mix around and use. But that's the gimmick now, really, and it seems to be working.
This is the Undisputed Wrestling Show. We're talking to the Honorable Bruce Tharpe, President of the National Wrestling Alliance.
You're listening to the Angry Marks Podcast Network.